I've never been a union member, but I'm a very strong supporter and always will be. So in light of that, they've been under attack heavily. I don't know, you read it in the paper all over the country. Our public employees, union members, I mean, all of them are under attack. Their pensions, everything. So I invited Mark Lowry and David Warren to come and talk a little bit about these attacks we're under, what things we can do to maybe help support by talking to our friends and neighbors about this and this information out there, writing letters, whatever it takes. And after that, I have Craig Cole is here too, and he's got some information to give us in regards to union jobs, a prospect that's coming up in a few years that would really help out our community. He'll address that real briefly at the end of the show, or at the end of the program.
End of the show.
End of the show. I'll be dancing. So anyway, you guys want to come up and speak?
Yeah, Greg's got some other stuff he's got to do. Can Greg and I do that thing first, and then
Yeah, you can do whatever works best for you
Mark
guys.
and I can
Fine.
talk after that?
Sure, that'll work. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you, Sherry.
Sure.
It's a pleasure to be here. My name's Craig.
I'm going to introduce you.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. I'm going to introduce you.
Everybody's supposed to say hi, Craig.
Let me introduce you.
This is scary. It's going to be painful. I was hoping to avoid this.
So last night, and your wife Charlie, who knows a lot of you know, was really homesick with a cold. We really didn't take care of her for the last week, so she's home. And I was over visiting some neighbors. I came back and I said, "How you feeling?" She said, "Oh, it's rough." And she says, "Craig called. I'm going to chat with you about today's thing." I said, "Oh, I'm calling back." And she said, "He said some really nice things." I said, "What was that?" And he says, "Well, you know, Dave always speaks highly, always says good things about you." Which I did, because Charlie was that kind of person. And she said, "Oh, that's very nice." And then she said there was this pause on the phone, and he said, "So if you're so good, why did you settle for that?" Meaning me, I guess.
Pretty much.
So what's up with that, Craig?
Well, it's a very legitimate question. It's, some people marry above themselves. It's pretty clear that's what happened in this case.
Yeah, that's my introduction.
Well, thanks, Dave. Yes. I've known Dave a long time. I'm a Democrat. I live in the south part of the 42nd district, and grew up in this area. I've known Al and his family forever. I've always been fond of his family, especially since as a teenager I grew up working out here. We lived in Bellingham, and our grocery store was in Ferndale, and so I grew up bagging groceries and I had a lot of friends out here. And if you ever knew any Ferndale kids, it was a great opportunity to get in trouble. And fortunately, his dad cut me some slack when he didn't have to. And I just hope his son extends the same courtesy if I ever need it in Bellingham. So thanks. I'm here to talk about the opportunity for a fourth industrial anchor at Cherry Point. I was a county council member in the 80s when there was, and thanks for the photo, by the way, that's perfect. When there was a tussle between the state and the county on what could or could not occur at Cherry Point. In fact, I'm going to pass these out. Thank you, Catherine. I have maybe enough. And there was a compact that was reached between the state and the county at that time, which goes something like this, and it's held for decades. And that's that there should be no dredging of the shoreline. There should be heavy industrial development at Cherry Point. That's the area that our county has set aside for heavy industry. It's not on the waterfront in Bellingham anymore. It's Cherry Point. That's where the high-wage jobs are. And there should be one more industrial pier at Cherry Point. Not 10 more, but one more. And pier on piling development would be the preferred form of development. So basically, this is our heavy industrial area. It's had decades worth of planning and thought that has gone into preserving it as an industrial area, not turning it into residential or some other kind of thing. And so SSA Marine approached me through a friend of mine a lawyer, represents them. We served together on Western's Board of Trustees together, this fellow. And he said SSA is looking at moving ahead with the construction of a shipping terminal at Cherry Point. And they wanted to review what they were planning with me to see if it was consistent with the, the now about almost 30-year-old vision for that area. So this has been a long time coming. So I worked with him for quite a while and gave him some advice, and then agreed to sign on this summer to help them move the project forward. Now I'm retired. I'm semi-retired, so but I don't sit around very well. So I like having important things to work on. And this is really important, and this has been a long time coming. SSA Marine is a company that started as Bellingham Stevedore. Any of you remember that? It started in 1949 in Bellingham, and they're now based in Seattle, and they're the largest shipping terminal operator in the Western Hemisphere. Still predominantly owned by the family that founded it, and they're all over the Western Hemisphere, and now also in Vietnam and New Zealand and other ports. So they're a very substantial enterprise, but they're based in Seattle. And what has occurred, if you look at that map over time, if you can open that thing up, I'm sorry I don't have enough of these.
Everybody got one.
Everybody get one? Okay. If you look at that map, here's what's happening. Too often, American workers are on the short end of the global economy. We outsource things and we don't get much back. But there's an opportunity to reverse some of that through exports. So the Obama administration has set as a goal doubling exports within 5 years. The Gregoire administration has a similarly aggressive goal to expand exports. Because as the state's chief economist says, we can't just be the world's buyer of things, we've got to be selling things too. Otherwise we become a debtor nation. And yeah, and so both of those administrations are focused on expanding exports. Excuse me. And one of the things that we could export more of would be bulk dry commodities. If you look at that map, if you look at the northern tier of the United States, from about Chicago west, there are various commodities produced by U.S. producers from grains, coal, potash, wood biofuels, iron ore, a number of commodities which are produced and that are very much in demand in the booming Asian markets, because the Asian markets are really expanding. They're developing their economies. And so there's high demand for these products, but you have to be competitive with other producers of those products as well, whether they're in Canada, Indonesia, Australia, or other places. So U.S. producers are hindered right now because they have a hard time getting their products to those markets cost effectively. And here's why. Landing one of those products in Asia, about 75% of the cost of doing that is transportation costs. And the most efficient way of transporting goods is first by rail. Rail is very efficient compared to trucks and other things. And it has a low carbon footprint. It uses very little fuel per ton. You must be a railroad guy, are you?
No. I'm a carbon master. I know.